Hi guys, Evelyn here, back with another video, and here is the final update from my ASICS Greater Manchester Marathon. It's been a long 6 months, but it's finally happened. It's been and gone. How quick was that? But let me take you back to last week. I think my final update was the day before I was heading up to Manchester, and I said that I was going to do 5k at a marathon pace and then do the local parkrun, and then the big day had arrived. In the end, I think I was faffing around still packing, so I didn't really get time to do a 5k. So instead, I just did a mile, and then I put a little bit more effort into the Stretford parkrun than I was going to. But let me just tell you how the marathon weekend went. So I set off on Friday at about 3 o'clock or so. So I went to see my dad first of all, spent a few hours with him before I left, and then made my way up at around 3 o'clock. So I thought there's no point me going up earlier. The traffic shouldn't be too bad because it's still Easter holidays. Maybe it'll be quiet, and then that's my plan. Google Maps told me it was going to take about 3 hours, 20 minutes or so. So I thought, yeah, that's a good time. I think I can make it all the way, not too much further on than driving up to Telford, so good to go. Anyway, so I ventured my way up. It was a lot of traffic locally, even though it was a school holiday for some reason. There was a lot of traffic around 3:15-ish to get to the motorway, so I had to weave around different routes other than my normal route getting onto the motorway at junction 11 of the M1. But I got onto it fine, not too much of a delay, bit of a slow journey, but it was fine. Anyway, I made my way on the M1, not too bad traffic, it was flowing, wasn't going as fast as it could have been, but it was 60 miles per hour or so. Speed limit here is 70 miles per hour. So it's flowing, but could have been faster. And then my Google Maps kept on telling me that there's traffic up ahead, 17-minute delay here, 17-minute delay there, 5-minute delay. So I think all along the M6 was accidents. It rained a little bit, it was spitting, maybe a bit more rain, so when it rains people seem to not be able to drive properly and cause accidents. So there was a couple of accidents along the way. So my 3 hours 20-minute journey ended up taking me 5 hours, and I didn't even stop at a service station either. So I was basically sat in the car listening to my podcasts, so it was fine, but it was just longer than it should have been. So I ended up getting to the hotel at around 8 o'clock, and I was staying in the Old Trafford area, so basically right in Old Trafford cricket ground. It was the Hilton Garden Inn hotel, and some rooms actually look over the cricket ground. I wasn't in one of those, but it's a lovely brand new hotel. It's really, really spacious. My first room that I got, I ended up getting I think it was a disabled room actually. It was on the first floor. It was really spacious. Everything is basically brand new, very modern. And it was really nice. However, when I went into the bathroom, there was no bath. There's only a shower. And as you know, I'm up there for the marathon, and you may not know, I don't have a bath in my flat, only a shower here. So if I go away, I'd like to enjoy a bath, and especially with the marathon, after that I would enjoy a good soak with my Epsom salt bath salts that I bought. So once I got up there and I had a look around the room, saw that the bathroom didn't have a bath, so I rang down to reception to see if there was any available rooms, and luckily for me there was. So I ended up being on the 4th floor, still on the same side, so only a view of the car park, not the cricket ground, but it was still a spacious room, but it was twin beds instead of double bed, which was fine by me because that's only me, and the twin beds weren't really tiny twin beds, they're probably like a twin and a half size, so it was perfect. I wasn't rolling off on the floor or anything like that during the night, so actually it was quite a big bed, so it was fine for me. And because it was 2 beds separated, the room wasn't as spacious as the room I had initially, but again, it was only me, so there's no problem. But it had a bath and a shower, so I was happy with that. Only problem was the hot water didn't get as hot as I would have liked, but you can't have everything. Anyway, so that was my initial dilemma. Once I moved to my new room, had a look around, had a bath, it was great. I sort of unpacked lightly. I didn't really need to eat because I had taken snacks on my drive up. So really the only thing I needed was water, but there was coffee and hot water in the room, so that's what I had. So I just went to bed basically. And then the next day, there was no expo or anything to go to. I thought there might have been something to do, but there was no expo. Saturday morning was parkrun day. So I ventured up to parkrun Stretford, which is in Longford Park. It's about a mile away from the cricket ground or my hotel. I did a slow jog in the park's direction with Google Maps, so I knew where I was going. And once I got to just before the park, I saw people running in that direction. And so I just basically followed them, and you go into the Stretford athletics ground. So it's an athletics track. So I was waiting around. I mean, you could tell that there's more people there because of the marathon, which is good to see. I saw a couple of people that I knew from local parkruns. There's a lady that I've seen more often in races as opposed to parkrun, but I know that she's from St Albans Striders, and I've seen her volunteering at St Albans Parkrun a few times as well. She's such a really gets you going, really loud volunteer, or marshal, so she's fun. So I went over just to chat to her because somebody I recognised, and we just chatted while we're waiting. And then I think she was waiting for other people to join her, so she saw them, she went off and stood with them. And then I was waiting around this other lady. I think she's just moved to the area, and it was her first one, so we were talking about it, and I was explaining I was here for the marathon, and but you love parkrun, everything parkrun's always good, it's your new Saturday morning obsession. And then also just explained to her that there'll be a briefing for new runners, and really I should be at that briefing as well because I've not done that course yet either. So I went over to ask some of the marshals, and we had a nice chat, and explained how this is my first marathon, my new body, and all my expectations. And they were doing the marathon as well tomorrow, so that's why they were volunteering. And they were explaining how it's a really nice flat park run. And it's basically, you loop the track before you leave, and then you run around the park twice, and then you come back, and then you run around the track again to the finish. So it's very hard to contain yourself from going fast because it was flat. I mean, I had held back as much as I could, and I was really trying to test myself because, as you know, I wasn't feeling too good in my runs. I think I had recovered from tiredness and muscle aches from the Bedford 20 mile 2 weeks before, but in myself, when I was running, even miles, my engine wasn't kicking in, so I felt like something inside was like holding back. But that run, I was fine. I had no problem. I probably could have gone faster if I wanted to, but I ended up doing it in I think 27 minutes 22, so it actually was normal park run pace for me, but it was definitely a PB worthy course. So if you're in the Manchester area, get to Stretford Parkrun. Really friendly people and lovely flat course, and then you can unleash your inner Mo Farah on the track for the finish, because you do basically 400 meters for the finish, and then you cross the line. No tape though. So you had to resist. I had to resist not going too fast, but I did go a little bit fast. But no, it was a good run. So I enjoyed that. And then on the way back, it was raining. So I sort of walked back. I went back a different route, so I got a little bit lost. So I did about maybe 3, 4, 4.5, 5 miles Saturday, which I should have done the day before the marathon, but it was okay. They were slow jogs, so it was fine. And then my other fellow members from Stopsy Striders joined me, not at the hotel, but they were coming up to their hotel on the Saturday, so they drove up. They had a better journey than I had. It only took them about 3 hours, 20 or so minutes. So it was good for them, lucky. I maybe should have gone up on a Saturday, but I think I'm glad I did go up on the Friday because I got to rest more. I got to do a different park run, so it's another notch on my tourist park run tour. Whilst they were travelling up, I went to Manchester city centre, I went to the shopping centre, did a bit of shopping there and got something to eat, like a snack. And then we were going to meet up for dinner, and then they were going to come down to have a look at the event village area and the start areas, which is basically right by my hotel. So I walked up to their hotel, and then we went for dinner at Beefeater, and then we walked down back to my hotel just to have a look where the event village was. We saw the finish line in the car park, and it was basically on the floor, so we took selfies with that. I'll put a picture in here. So that was quite cool. We touched the clock and the finish line. I thought, I'll touch it for luck, and then you don't touch it and see what happens. I wasn't for luck. It's like, oh, we should touch the clock for luck. And she goes, oh no, it'll be bad luck. Well, I said, oh, okay, I'll touch it. And if I do good, it means it's the clock's luck. And then if you do good, that means I got the bad luck. It was funny. We do silly things, don't we? So that was fun to see that and see it all being set up and everything. From my room, I can see into the car park, and I could see all of the setup. All the portaloos were along one side, I think Grantham Road, and then they had some little cafes on the Talbot Road for spectators who were waiting around, and then on to the other side of the car park, so not in, on the other side of the car park, you can walk through to the actual event village, which is where the baggage is, and in registration and trying of nutrition and all that sort of thing was over there. So it wasn't I couldn't see it from my room, but you could see it when you walked around. So that's what we did. So I ended up doing about 18,000 steps on the Saturday. Not a good idea, but I felt good for it. I think I was like nervous energy needed to be unleashed. And it was really good to spend some time with other people doing the race, where normally I go to these things on my own. So it was nice to share it with people. And it was the other girls first. So it was Maria and Vicky. It was their first marathon altogether. So it was like bringing back memories of my first marathon and all the excitement that you feel, and the nervousness and the fear of the unknown and all that stuff. We were just talking about that. So it's quite good to share that experience with them. So it was really good. And then they went back to their hotel, and then I went back to mine, obviously. And yeah, it was just basically preparing your kit ready for the next day. I pinned my number on my shirt and all that good stuff. So it's supposed to be really hot, not boiling, but it was going to be slightly warmer than expected. So I ended up wearing my Softly Striders vest. I was going to wear my Team Simon purple t-shirt, but when I ran at parkrun, it was really hot at 9 o'clock. Even though it was overcast, it was really hot. So I thought it's better if I wear the vest for the race. And I didn't need to really put anything in baggage because I was basically right there. So I ended up not putting anything in baggage in the end. But anyway, so that was the end of Saturday night. Went to bed. I set my alarm for 6:30. I was umming and ahhing about whether I should have anything to eat before for breakfast for marathon morning, but I trained without nutrition, and I normally run fasted, and for Bedford 20 mile I did run fasted that race. So I thought it's not a good idea, even though the hotel provided breakfast, and they also put breakfast on this Sunday much earlier than they normally do, specifically for marathon runners. But I thought, no, it's probably not a good idea. So I just made coffee in my room, and I sort of put my phone on snooze because I didn't need to be up at 6:30 if I wasn't going down for breakfast. And I knew that Vicky and Maria would contact me when they were closer by, so then I would go and join them. And they weren't going to leave their hotel till about 7:30. So really I didn't have to get up until 7:30. But I set my alarm at 6:30, stayed in bed till about 7:10, then got into the shower, made a coffee, changed, and then looked out my window, and you could see all the people starting to come in, all the portaloos getting queued up and all that stuff, all the good stuff. And then I could just watch from my window. So it's quite cool to just be there. Anyway, so then I got a message saying that they were on their way, nearly like a minute away from baggage. So I went down to join them, found them, bumped into another guy from Softly Striders who was I think his son lives in Manchester, so he stayed there. So he joined us. We all chatted. It was his first marathon as well. And then we saw another lady as well from our Valerie. So she's done a few marathons before, so it wasn't her first. But she was with her husband, and we had already put everything in baggage that we needed to do. And thankfully, Vicky got me an extra one of those silver foil blankets because they knew that I wasn't bringing a coat or anything. And I didn't think I needed it because it felt quite warm. I stuck my hand out of the window in the hotel just to see if it was cold or not, and it felt okay. But I think as soon as I actually put it on later on, I felt the cold. So I think it was all adrenaline making me feel warm, and all the excitement of the day and everything. So we made our way towards the start line. Our pen was G. All four of us started in G. I think Andy, he's faster runner, and he was going for, he wouldn't really say, but I think he was going for 4 hours 20 or 4:25, something like that. And then I was going for 4:26. Vicky was going for about the same as me. I think a little bit faster than me too, but about the same pace. And then Maria was going for 5 hours. So we all started at the same time. Made sure we got all our selfies in and everything. And then I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew that I didn't want to start as fast as I did in Bedford because I think that took a lot out of me and I wanted to pace it. Andy is a bit faster, so he was going a little bit faster than we would have gone, but he's slower for him. So he started off slower and we sort of matched him. So me and Vicky ran with Andy. Maria held back with a 5 hour pacer because she didn't want to do, she's not as fast, so she didn't want to push too far, so she held back. So it was us three running together for the first 10k. I was supposed to stop at water stations, that was my plan, but they provided bottles and I could run and drink with bottles. So, and I was feeling okay, and we're running together and we're talking a little bit, and it was good to run together, so I just kept on running. I didn't feel anything of it. So we ran through the water stations, we kept together as much as we could, and by 10k we were still going strong, but we were going at pace around 6:07. So my marathon pace was 6:16 supposed to be, and I think Vicky wanted to run 6:20 and Andy wanted to run a 9:45 mile pace. I don't know what that is, I haven't worked it out in kilometers. So we were like basically on Andy's pace, 9:45 possibly, but we were doing 6:07 between, I think the first K was 6:10 and then all the rest was 6:07, 6:06, 6:05, 6:07, 6:04, things like that, all the way to 10k. And when we got to 10k, Vicky decided that was a bit too fast for her. She wanted to slow down the pace so that she would be able to last it. And I knew that, I was thankful that we started together like that, because that did slow me down a little bit, because I was running 5:30, 5:45 pace for basically the whole of the 20 miler until the end. Well, no, probably the whole, maybe 15 miles. So although I probably could have run faster, it was probably good that my pace was a little bit slow, more closer to my race pace should have been. And me and Andy carried on running, and then I got to 18k, and then I realised that I hadn't stopped at any of the water stations at 18k. When I planned to stop at every 3 miles, every 5k. So I thought, Andy, I'm going to, next water station, I'm going to walk. So you carry on as you probably were going to. And then if I can catch up with you, I will do. If not, have a good race. So I think the water station came just before the 20k, maybe 19 and a half. So at that point I walked. I changed my bottle because I couldn't drink a whole bottle, but I kept it with me so that I could drink when I wanted until the next one, then I would just replace with the next one. So I swapped my water bottle at that point, drank a bit, ran through, and kept on catching up with Andy. We'd run together maybe for like half a k, then the next water station would be there. And then I'd walk, and then he'd run on and I'll catch him up. So that happened for maybe the next, up until 35k. And then I think that's when I started to slow down, and then he just carried on. He never stopped. The thing is, he never stopped. He maybe have slowed down his pace, but he just didn't stop at the water stations, which I probably could have done that too, but I hadn't done that before, so it wasn't in my my plan to do it, so I just kept on walking at the water station. So I think everything after 35k slowed down up until 40, yeah, just 39k. That's when I started to walk, run, because I couldn't keep it up after that. But I was happy that after the 32k I could still run, so I didn't have that mental block from running further than a 20 miler, so that was good. All throughout though, I didn't mention the crowd, but the crowd were amazing. I mean, they were there virtually all the way through the race. There was a few quiet spots, but not as many as Brighton, for example. So like Brighton, there was like maybe 10k of emptiness, whereas Manchester, there was basically crowds, marshals, water station, crowd, marshals, water station, the whole way through. It was best, and there was a lot of people. It wasn't just like 3 or 4 people here and there. It would be like crowds, and you could hear the cheers, and it was like a humming, and then you could have music, and oh, it was so good. And then because your names were on your bibs, they would be shouting out your names. It was kids doing high fives. Oh, it was good. There was water spraying, like private people on their houses would have water hoses and spraying on us as well. It was just such a good experience. It was such a good experience, and the crowd being there really pushed you on, especially the last 3-4k. That's when you needed it the most, and they were there going, "Come on, Evelyn, go for it. You can do it." There was no like, I've noticed sometimes that the crowd see certain types of people and then stop cheering and then carry on cheering, but it was all the way. Everybody was so supportive. It was brilliant. Really, really good. I really recommend this marathon. And to anybody, it was very flat, and I saw some people on some of the forums saying that it was boring because it was so flat, but it's probably because it wasn't scenic. If you have hills, then you have more higher vantage views, you have more greenery, but it was more of a street race, so everything was really on residential streets or city roads. It wasn't really any fields that you were running through at all. But I think that lends itself to more crowd support, because if you're running through village streets or fields, people can't get there. So that really would be why there was more cheering and everything, which I prefer. But anyway, when you come to the last, the gantry or the finishing straight, that's where all the crowds were, and it was amazing. I think if you look at my, there's a video that they did a live stream of the whole race, and they also, one of my fellow striders was watching, and then he stripped off all of us who were running, all the stop striders who were running. He sort of sent us all the video clips of our finish, but you could see me like smiling away, because it was just like cheers and "Go on, Evelyn, you could do it, nearly there, the finish line is right there, go for it." So I just sped. You could see me like weaving through, passing people. That's so funny. But if you look at my my pace, you can see that I've gone up right at the end. But I always do that. But even after a whole 26 miles, I was able to speed up in the last 200 meters. It's amazing. Couldn't believe I did that. Yeah, it was amazing. And I basically did it with water for the whole way. I was a little bit worried about the unknown 6 miles. So Maria got me some dextrose tablets, which are the sugar-based white tablets. So I probably didn't need to, but I think it was just for my peace of mind that it's not going to cause me any issues. So about 35k, that's when I took my first one, and then I took another one just before 40k. So I probably only needed the 35k if I needed it at all. But looking back, I don't think I really needed it at all. I could have done the whole thing without any nutrition, as you say, but I took water all the way through. But I did it. I finished. I'm wearing my finisher's shirt, which is medium, by the way. They didn't have any small left, which is so unfortunate. But here is my medal. I got it. I ran Manchester Marathon in 4 hours, 29 minutes and 33 seconds. So I was about 2.5 minutes off my target. My target was 4:26.50, but it was sub 4 hours 30, so you can't complain, can you? So I achieved, I don't know if you remember from my last video, but I put up my goals of the race, and the first was to finish, which I obviously did. The second was to PB, I obviously did. The third was to get sub 5 hours, I did that. I should have actually put in another one, sub 4 hours 30 minutes. Somebody said, Vicky said I should have done that, but I didn't do it. And so the next one was to reach my target, which is my ultimate goal. So I missed that, but 4 hours 29, 4 hours 26, what's 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I'm still happy, as you can see. And the whole thing is I basically knocked 1 hour and 15 minutes off my last year's time. So can you believe that? I just can't believe it. I think I couldn't believe it. And when I went through the finish line, I looked at my watch, stopped it obviously, looked at it, and I just burst into tears. It was like I was so emotional. I didn't expect that I would be so emotional to cry. But I was walking along with this another lady who, I think it was her first marathon, and she wasn't even crying. And when I was talking to her, I was like, I don't even know why I'm crying. I was like tears and everything. I don't know, it's just all that emotion, all that relief, all that adrenaline, all that excitement, all the happiness, the relief, it just all came out in tears. So, but there you go, I finished my marathon. So, I'm amazed. It's now Wednesday, so it's 3 days after. I came back on the Monday, so as you know, I'm doing a run streak. The plan calls for no runs at all for the first 7 days, but because I'm doing my run streak, I'm going to run a mile every day. As you can imagine, my legs were aching like mad. I didn't have any steps at the time because my hotel had a lift, so I couldn't tell you about going downstairs on that day, on the Sunday. On the Monday, I did a 1 mile treadmill run, and it was hard to get going. So I had to walk to start with, and I just felt it, especially in my quads, the front of my thighs. Oh my gosh, it was so painful. But I sort of did a walk at the start, sped it up, then I ran to get to my mile. So it was a long mile. It took me about 13 minutes to do that first mile on the first day, but it was still a run. So it's classed as another day on my run streak. But it did help because by the end of that run, I could walk properly, because before I was waddling like I had a full nappy on or something. I just couldn't walk. But after that run on that treadmill, even though it was slow, it sort of worked out a lot of that, maybe lactic acid or that muscle soreness. So I was able to walk normally, or a bit more normal than before. Stairs wasn't working though. I couldn't go downstairs especially. And I didn't notice that until I got home, because there's lifts everywhere in the hotel. But that day I did my run, had a shower, went for breakfast, packed, and then I left and had my journey home. So my journey home was fine. It was better than on the journey up, but I did stop because I was hungry. I stopped twice in the end. I was hungry and I needed the loo the second time, so So it took me about 4 hours to get home, but that's because I stopped. No traffic or accidents, so that was fine. Anyway, so I went to see my dad, and he has a few stairs, so that's when I knew that stairs weren't working. And then when I got home, I live on the second floor, which is stairs all the way up, so not good. And then the second day I was still able to walk, but I did a mile again, so it was outside. Going down the stairs was hard work for sure, but the second day mile was much better. I don't know whether it's because it was outside and not on a treadmill, but I did it in about 11 minutes and felt even better. So that worked a little bit more, because normally it's the day after that you feel bad, and I didn't feel bad. My muscle soreness wasn't worse than the day before. It was in fact improving, so that was good. And I also worked a little bit out of my going downstairs issues. Although it was still a bit of pain going downstairs, it wasn't as much. And then today I went even faster for my mile, so I did my mile in about 10 minutes today. And I was even ready to probably do more than a mile, but I said to myself, I'm going to do 1 mile this week. So just for 5 days though, because Saturday's parkrun, and it'll be my 500th run streak day as well. So I will go back to running more than a mile on Saturday. Yeah, so tomorrow's Thursday, and I'll be going down to London Marathon volunteer training session tomorrow. So that should be good fun. And then I'll do a mile beforehand, and then another mile on Friday, and then Saturday's parkrun. But that concludes my ASICS Manchester Marathon training updates and the final actual marathon update. I hope you've enjoyed these vlogs. I've enjoyed doing them for you. I now feel like I want to do another marathon because I felt that I could have put much more into it. So I'm really considering doing another one this year, possibly October. I could try and do Bournemouth again, or Chester maybe. So you never know, might be resuming these marathon training vlogs. But for now, I shall end it here. Thank you so much for watching. Do come back to my channel for other videos. Do like and do subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.